Cancer Research UK swaps the word woman for everyone in cervical screening campaign to avoid offending transgender people. Cancer Research UK has swapped the word woman for everyone in its cervical screening campaign to avoid offending transgender people. The charity decided to pull the gendered word from its latest campaign, using the phrase everyone with a cervix. Cancer Research UK confirmed the move was in a bid to be more inclusive and not to exclude anyone who is biologically female but identifies as male. The change drew a mixed reaction, as some claimed it prioritized being politically correct over public health, while others applauded the life-saving word swap. The tweet from the campaign reads, "Cervical screening, or the smear test, is relevant for everyone aged 25-64 with a cervix. Watch our animation to find out what to expect when you go for screening." Fiona Osgun from Cancer Research UK told The Times, "Cervical cancer develops in anyone who has a cervix. This includes women as well as people with other gender identities such as trans men. But screening might not be relevant for all women such as those who have had a full hysterectomy. We phrased our information on Cervical Screening Awareness Week to reflect this. Smear tests are simple, taking 10 minutes and are used to detect abnormal cells on the cervix, which is the entrance to the uterus from the vagina. Removing these cells can prevent cervical cancer, as around 3,000 cases of the disease are diagnosed each year in the UK. The NHS advocates for women as well as trans men who have not had a total hysterectomy to go for routine cervical screening tests. After the rollout of the new campaign, people took to Twitter to criticize the change. Joe wrote, "I'm worried about the quality of your research if you don't know it's women that have a cervix." Another said, "You rely heavily on donations. Please don't erase the word women when talking about cervix examinations. I don't think you've skipped the use of men when dealing with prostate cancer." However, more people seemed to agree with Cancer Research UK's decision. Karen wrote, "Thank you for the inclusive language. I can see some people don't understand why you've done it, but I really appreciate it, and I suspect for the large majority of people it doesn't bother them either way, but for some it could be a literal lifesaver." Another said, "Trans men and non-binary people that still have their cervix can get cervical cancer. Please, ensure that you go for screening if necessary. This can be done at some LGBTQ+ health clinics throughout the country." Trans masculine and non-binary people do not forget about breast cancer. Remember that we need to check ourselves regularly and take part in any screening programs. One added, "It's really appreciated. And thank you also for describing this in a very specific way that reminds people like me, who have had a hysterectomy but do still have a cervix, that this still needs checking." And Debs wrote, "I'm a gynae cancer nurse and recently met one of our staff members who works on LGBTQ+ involvement. I asked where trans men get their smear tests. He said they don't. They don't feel like they can. Wording is important. Well done at CR_UK. A smear test detects abnormal cells on the cervix, which is the entrance to the uterus from the vagina. Removing these cells can prevent cervical cancer. Most test results come back clear, however, 1 in 20 women show abnormal changes to the cells of their cervix. In some cases, these need to be removed or can become cancerous. Cervical cancer most commonly affects sexually active women aged between 30 and 45. In the UK, the NHS cervical screening program invites women aged 25 to 49 for a smear every 3 years, those aged 50 to 60 every 5 years, and women over 65 if they have not been screened since 50 or have previously had abnormal results. Women must be registered with a GP to be invited for a test. In the US, tests start when women turn 21 and are carried out every 3 years until they reach 65. Changes in cervical cells are often caused by the human papilloma virus, HPV, which can be transmitted during sex. In January 2018, women shared selfies with smeared lipstick on social media to raise awareness of the importance of